Hi everybody, thank you for joining me today. Today I am setting up my September bullet journal and I have chosen, almost said fungus, I have chosen fungi as my theme, mushrooms. That's the word I was looking for, mushrooms as my theme. For my September quote, I chose the quote by Morgan Harper Nichols. The same light you see in others is shining in you or within you. I thought this was an appropriate quote since I always look at other people's work and I think they're doing such a great job and then feel like my work isn't up to par. So that's the quote I chose and I'm hopefully going to carry that with me, well, forever, but let's just at least for the month. So I hand drew my said fungus again, mushroom, for my cover page, and I'm using the Archer and Olive acrylographs. This color is Fire Brick Red. It is in the Jewel Tone collection, I believe. And I find with acrylographs, I think people love to hate them or hate to love them. I don't know. I don't mind them. I have figured out how to use them and how I'm most comfortable using them. So I'm happy to use them. This is one of my favorite ways. I'm using palette paper. And as you can see, it's very well used palette paper. Once the acrylographs dry, they don't reactivate. So I've just been using the same sheet of palette paper to do my acrylograph painting. I like to use a paintbrush when I do this with the acrylographs. I actually realized you could do this doing the Unbound project through Archer and Olive, and I find that you use less paint doing it this way and it's quicker, much quicker. And so I've really come to enjoy this painting with the acrylographs this way. I also find you need less colors when you do it this way. So I like to pick a color and then use a darker shade of that color to do outlines. And when I'm painting like this, it's really great because it creates so much variation that the piece becomes more interesting than just a flat piece, which is fine. That's what I want sometimes. But in my bullet journal, I'm trying to embrace imperfections, and so this definitely helps. And I find I can use the same color to do the outlines, which you'll see shortly. And it just saves on the number of colors that you need. I'm a completionist, so I spend a lot of time collecting all the acrylographs, and it gets kind of stressful on release days because I want to make sure that I get my acrylographs to finish off what I have. But I'm also trying to use what I have more, which is hard because some of these colors are hard to come by or don't exist anymore or aren't being remade. But it's still good to use what you have, and that's what I'm doing. This color is Jordan from the Awakening collection, I believe. This is probably my favorite green out of all of the greens they released. I've definitely used this one the most. And the yellow I used was from the Jewel Tone, which was mustard, and then the body of the mushroom is Mothwing from the Cool Fall, I believe. That's another one that I use quite a bit. So we'll see how much longer that one lasts. But I'm using the Pigeon Letters Studio brush. I believe this is a size 4. Any brush you have to paint with your acrylographs. I make sure to wash it out properly since there is a bit of an acrylic base within the paint and you don't want to ruin your nice brushes. So, and this color I'm using here is maroon from the Jewel Tone collection as well, I believe. I also decided to do the tabs again this month, and so I'm cutting out the tabs. The tabs are 2 block width plus whatever the edge of the page, the margin is. And then the tabs themselves, I think, are about 7 blocks, give or take, just to make them fit. I tend to only measure out my tabs once I've decided on all of my layouts so that I know how big the tabs need to be so that they all line up at the end of the month. As always, I'm outlining my borders of my pages. I learned this from Quirky Heart over on Instagram. She's fantastic. I did her creative bullet journaling course through Planners Gone Wild in 2017. It's been a really long time, but it's really stuck with me because I just feel like it finishes off the page quite nicely. And that is a Tombow dual brush marker or dual brush pen in N15. And here's where you can see me go in and outline. I'm using the same green that I used to paint with. Or actually, am I? No, I'm lying. I'm actually using the moss green from the fall collection. I thought these two colors went so well together that that's what I went for. So sorry about that. And so I didn't add too much detail to the picture, as you can see, other than outlining. I wasn't too worried about shading or anything. It's just fun. I just wanted to get it done, and I thought the paint variation was good enough for the shading. I do take a white gel pen. I'm using a Sakura Jelly Roll in size 10. I couldn't find one of my white acrylographs, so that's what I went with. And I'm just outlining the grass. I use my own stickers throughout the layouts, which you'll see shortly. Those are available for free for a limited time for email subscribers in the Blank to Brilliant library. I've linked that down below that you can check out. I also have a blog post talking about more of my measurements and just thought process behind some of my layouts that you can go check out, which is linked down below as well. Last month I did some stamping and I had so much fun that I decided to stamp again. This set is by Amy Tangerine. It has been discontinued. She has brought it back in the past. I haven't seen it come back, but you never know. This is my favorite set. There are some similar sets out there. So my favorite place to buy stamps is scrapbook.com. So you can check that out and see what's out there. I find with alphabet stamps, it's so personal what kind of alphabet stamp set do you like. There's a lot out there. I've definitely bought too many, and I only really stick to using about 4 different sets. So it is what it is. I'm adding some washi. I decided the red washi was too much with the red mushroom focal point and then the red tab. The red washi on this page was just too much, so I ended up replacing it with a gray, kind of similar to the gray of the background of the lettering piece, and I thought that tied in nicely. So here I have my calendar page. I did make a big whoopsie, which was to put too much water down on my mushroom. And so it did bleed through. It's 160 GSM paper. It will bleed if you put too much water in. And so I'm just cutting out a square piece to stick over top of the bleed through. And it worked great. As you can see, there's scribbles on that page. So it was just extra paper I had lying around. You'll also see when I am coloring my tabs, I just grab whatever paper I have lying around to protect the pages behind it. I'm not too particular, and then I've been known to go back and use that sheet of paper again even though it's got paint all over it. So for my calendar page, the days of the week are 2 blocks by 6 blocks, and then the calendar squares are 6 blocks by 6 blocks, and it takes up 2 pages. I need 2 pages for my calendar since I do write down things I need to know in the boxes, and if it's too small, then, well, I can't write it down. So I do tend toward the larger boxes for that. And then the 2 bigger boxes on the right-hand side are for to-dos for the month. And then I put notes. Sometimes I use it to write down what's coming up next month. This tab I'm coloring in with the brick red, and then now you see me using the moth wing again. And basically I decide which colors look best together, and that's how I decide which colors my tabs will be. Just a bit more coordinated and fun, and then I just label it with a white jelly roll in size 10, I believe. am stamping with my Amy Tangerine set again. And then I have the Archer and Olive script alphabet stamps. My biggest issue with these is getting it out of the little box. My fingers are sometimes clumsy, so it's a little hard to maneuver the little stamps out of it, but I'm coming up with a way because I do like them. And the funniest part about using these stamps is that this was the first time I'd ever used them, and this was the first page I'd ever used them on. And it looks kind of messy. I would have liked the letters to be a little bit closer together. And by the time I finished week 4, I had a pretty good thing going with these stamps. So it just goes to show with stamping, just practice makes perfect. Don't give up. I know that's such a cliche, and I know people hate hearing that. I hate hearing that, but practice really does go a long way. And this was over the span of a journal, a monthly setup, so it really didn't take long. This is another favorite of mine by Studio L2E, unfortunately discontinued as well. But they do have some other fun stamp sets that you should definitely check out. I used these last month. I believe they're called Simple Basics. And yeah, like I said, this one's one of my favorite sets because it has 2 different letter sizes. There's the larger ones that I stamped it to do with and the notes with, and then there's smaller letter sizes, which if you check out last month's setup, you will see how I was able to use the smaller numbers. Just a quick funny story I want to share with you. This is my second time filming or recording this voiceover because I never hit record the first time I did it. So yes, I'm slowly losing my mind over here apparently, but I hope you stick around for the journey. So the grid washi tape that you see me using is actually available in my shop. My shop isn't currently open. I'm hoping to get that open soon. It's also where you'll find these sticker sets and whatever I decide to sell and how I decide to sell it. I used to sell physical product, but I'm not sure if that's viable for me right now. But anyways, I digress. I will let you know when the shop is open, so definitely stay posted for that and some more bullet journal content. This is me looking for my scissors that were right in front of me. This is one of my favorite supplies. It's the Archer and Olive journaling stencil. I don't want to talk about it too much since it is currently out of stock. They do have plans to bring it back, but like I said, it's currently not available. So again, sign up for the emails if you want to keep track of when that comes back in stock. Quick disclaimer regarding that, I am affiliated with Archer and Olive and I share my link down below, and I also am doing some work for them, so I just wanted to put that out there. I do love their products, otherwise I wouldn't be this entwined with them, so I do want to let you know about that as well. So what you saw me do earlier, I was using my moth wing and the tip had gotten all dried up, and instead of getting up to wash my pen, I decided that I was just going to use a paintbrush to distribute the paint that I had or was able to get on the page. That's probably my most favorite acrylograph workaround. You're going to see me do it here again. Instead of fighting with the pen to get the ink out, and instead of getting my butt out of my chair to go clean the tip, I just use a paintbrush to even out the surface. And I'm going to tell you right now, that pen is going to go back in the drawer without being cleaned. This is my little cat Millie. She shows up in a lot of my videos, but I don't know if she's been in a video recently, so she's still around. She's been a good girl and left me alone for the most part when I'm working on my journaling, but if I'm on my computer, she is taking a snooze on my lap. So, very sweet little cat. This is my notes page. In the past, I have put a block to allow for action items, pulling out action items out of my notes. I wasn't really using it, so I decided not to do it this month. Again, I'm using my Amy Tangerine stamp set, and then I'm just going to add a little bit of decorative element to tie it into the rest of the layout. That includes washi and a sticker. And I thought it would be fun to just freehand draw a border around the edge, which you'll see. I like to use the Pigeon Letters Studio monoline pens. My favorite sizes to do my boxes is size 9. And then for my little squares, my check boxes, I use a size 7. They come in 2 to size 9, I believe, or 1 to size 9. There's lots of sizes. I've linked it down below for you to check out. This is my weekly setup. For my weekly setup, and again, I don't think I've mentioned in this video actually, this is a B5 size journal. So a lot of the measurements I'm giving you are for B5. If you're using an A5, you're obviously going to want to size it to your journal. I have 7 boxes, my Monday through Sunday boxes, that are 10 boxes across, 20 boxes down. On the left, I'm including a calendar box. That's where I'm stamping my calendar. That measures 8 by 11 boxes. And I thought for this layout, I would split up my to-do list. My first half of my to-do list is on the bottom left, and the top is on the top right. And those are 8 boxes across and 20 boxes down. You'll see me draw those shortly. Again, I use my monoline size 9 to do that. Once my shop opens up, I will have a few more calendar stamp sets available for purchase, which is what I always use, so I will keep you posted on that. I am stamping the dates, which I'm using the Studio L2E stamp set for. It just takes a little while, so I just fast forwarded that for you so you wouldn't have to see me go back and forth changing that out. And then for the to-do, again, I'm using the same Studio L2E set. This is my first time using a layout like this. I really liked last month's layout, but I do like to change out my layouts. I don't want to get too caught in routine, it gets boring, so I always try something new. This month, something new was stamping NW for next week. I actually don't like it. I like that it balances with the S for September on the left-hand side of the page, but I don't know, it's a bit much for me, but now I know. And also that box, the purpose of that little box is changing. I used to do next week boxes when I wasn't setting up full layouts, full monthly layouts. And the last few months I have been doing my layouts all at once, so I haven't really needed to use the next week box. And just a little disclaimer here again, I'm actually setting up week 2. My week 1 camera cut out. I'm trying to figure out my camera settings, but it cut out, and you never saw me finish the layout, so I'm just showing you part of week 2. I'm adding my washi, and I add a fun little sticker just to tie it into the rest of the layout. And then I go in with my journaling stencil, and I just outline my checkboxes. I only did 3, thinking those are my 3 priorities for the day, and then if anything else comes up, I can just pop it down as well. I have the room to do it. So that is my September layout all done. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out down below. I did want to ask what your favorite time of the year is. Fall is my absolute favorite, so let me know down below what your favorite is. Thank you so much for watching today, and I will see you in the next one.